Are you a whipping boy? If you have family members that insist on seeing the worst in you instead of encouraging the best in you, you may be a whipping boy or girl. A whipping boy was a boy educated alongside a prince or a king in early modern Europe who supposedly received corporal punishment for the prince's transgressions in his presence. The prince was not punished himself because his royal status exceeded that of his tutor. Seeing a friend punished would provide an equivalent motivation not to repeat the offense. The proverb, to beat a dog before a lion. So the whipping boy is a metaphor for a scapegoat, fall guy, or sacrificial lamb. It's a form of bullying that unfairly blames a person for the action of others. So Christ on the cross died for other people's sins and transgressions. He was a whipping boy. And when we connect with the energy of Christ, many of us actually adopt the whipping boy syndrome that Christ had, like the Meg Griffin. If Meg would have left her family, the family would be left to find another black sheep or scapegoat. But she played a role probably out of ignorance. I became the whipping girl at a very young age. My older sister was whipped so badly and her screams were so bad that when she would do something that she would get whipped for, I took the blame. And when we become the black sheep or the whipping boy, we don't just take on physical pain, we actually take on psychological imperfections. So I became like a codependent. I would adopt other people's pains. I became the bad guy because they wanted me to be the bad guy. I became obnoxious. My personality turned into something they wanted me to be. And there comes a precipice in our lives when we decide, who do we want to be? Do we want to be that? And do we want to continue this paradigm? Do we want to continue this game? So when I went through my rebirth and I went through my 0 point energy, I began to see through the eyes of the Divine Mother and Father, and the Divine Mother and Father sees the best in us. Our smile and our energy is sufficient for love. That's it. Just being here is enough. And the Divine Mother sees the best and brings out the best. The Divine Father ignores what is out of balance and helps to balance it in a very positive way. So if you have family members that either aggravate an old mindset or finds something in you and pulls out the worst and pinpoints the worst instead of encouraging the best, the only way to handle that currently is either to educate those who may listen or to cut them off. I like the ridiculous spell by Harry Potter, where you just take what they say and you make it ridiculous. You can laugh and say, oh, that's so funny. I remember when we used to play those games as children or whatever, not sarcasm, but just don't allow any emotion over it. Keep your 0 point energy. And remember that they are in an old program. We have now grown and we do not have to be the black sheep or the whipping post anymore, because we are wanting to change the world where we see the best in each other, even when we're at our worst.